Do you have a favorite affirmation? They can be such powerful tools in helping us to create change and transformation. But just because you like an affirmation doesn't actually mean it is a useful affirmation. Today in the podcast, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how you can choose an affirmation that you don't just like, but is actually useful, and how you can use tapping to superpower and supercharge that transformation so you can get more out of the affirmation you love. This is Monterastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recording live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 645, originally aired January 15th, 2025. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. As I was putting together this week's podcast, I just did a quick little Google search to see what the history of affirmations are and where they came from in the transformational space. And I was surprised. The first article that came up read, the first recorded use of an affirmation dates back to ancient Egyptian civilization. Affirmations were inscribed on amulets and other objects. And so I knew affirmations had been around for a long time. I had no clue that they'd been around for more than 2,500 years. And so even though it is something that has been around for such a long time, because there are usefulness to it, it doesn't mean the way that you are using affirmations right now is going to make a difference in your life. So what we're going to do is we're going to explore exactly that. Now, before we do that and before we jump in, what we're going to do after we talk about affirmations is we're going to talk about how we can use tapping to supercharge those affirmations. Tapping is this absolutely amazing self-applied tool. I use it every day myself. I use it with my clients all of the time. If you are new to tapping, all you need to do is go to learntotap.com. That's learntotap.com, and you will be able to get a free guide teaching you all of the ins and outs and the basics of tapping so you can use it right away. You can go to learntotapping.com or just follow the little red arrow in the upper right-hand corner, and that will take you to learntotap.com. As I engage with transformations, the key part of the transformation is not the affirmation itself, but it's the way that the subconscious mind responds to that affirmation. That is where the key to using an affirmation to make a difference in your life. So there's three basic ways that your subconscious mind, my subconscious mind, is going to respond to an affirmation. The first way is it's going to respond positively. There's going to be engagement. You're going to feel your energy rise. You're going to feel like you're ready to take on the world. The second way an affirmation is responded to from our subconscious is there's actually a negative feeling. There's a negative sensation. It pushes back. There's tail enders. There's all of these things that the subconscious mind says why it is not true or why it is not true for you. The third way our subconscious mind can respond to an affirmation is with indifference. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about those three and how that is key for creating our transformation. And let's do it in the reversed order of what I just shared with you. So the first way, or the third way that I shared, the first way that we're going to talk about is when an affirmation doesn't resonate in a positive way or a negative way. And if you have an affirmation that intellectually you know is true, but there is no response emotionally, positively or negatively, then the affirmation isn't actually going to do anything for you. At that point, you could simply be saying rutabaga, 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 because you're not engaging with it in any particular way. And what we need to do in order to create healing and transformation is we need to be engaging with something on an emotional level. There have been times in my life where I have been saying prayers that I've been saying my entire life, and my mind is somewhere else. A prayer is not an incantation or it's a spell. A prayer is about the person who is saying it and how we emotionally engage with it and what it makes us think about and how it causes us to see the world and act. That's how it becomes useful. Affirmations are no different. They're not a spell that we are casting into the universe to make something magical happen, but instead, there's something that we are engaging with emotionally. So if you are saying an affirmation and you say that particular affirmation and it doesn't move you in any way, then that affirmation is not useful right now. Now, I want to break that little phrase that I just said right there down. Not useful right now. So when we engage with affirmations, for me, it's not about the right one or the wrong one. It's about how useful it is. And that's what we're talking about as we look at these things. How does it become useful for us? And you'll notice I said right now, because depending on the season you are in your life, depending on what is going on today, depending on what you had for breakfast and how much sleep you had the night before, your context and your resource state is going to determine whether or not you respond to something. And so, an affirmation that is unuseful today might be super useful in the future, and vice versa. An affirmation that was useful for you for years might not be useful for you today. Again, it's not about right or wrong. It's about how does it help you to create transformation. So, if there is no emotional resonance at all to that affirmation, then you can set that affirmation aside for now because it's not going to be very useful for you. The second way that we can respond to an affirmation is negatively, where there is all of the self talk that is pushing forward. Now, it might feel like an affirmation that creates negative feelings inside of you is an unuseful affirmation. But that's not actually the case. Because what it is doing is, as the subconscious mind is pushing back, what it is doing, it is telling you the truth of what your subconscious mind believes. And what your subconscious mind believes is going to drive the way that you act. And so, if I say an affirmation that my subconscious mind does not resonate with, the pushback that the subconscious mind gives me, that's gold. That is super, super useful because my subconscious mind has just opened a door to tell me why it doesn't believe that is true. So, for example, if I say in 2025, I'm going to be super successful in my business, that is a great affirmation. That is something that I can aspire to. And if I say that and my subconscious mind goes, no, you're not. You failed before you failed again. No, you're not. You're not made for success. No, you're not. Other people are going to be successful and you're not. That information, those tail enders, those things that the subconscious mind sticks on a tail end to what we just said, that is something that is super useful. And so even though I'm going to be successful in 2025 doesn't fill me with joy, it becomes a useful transfer, a useful affirmation because it points to the place that I need to be doing my internal work, that I need to be moving forward. Now, the third response that we can have to an affirmation is a positive one. If you say an affirmation and you can feel your energy rise, if you can feel yourself be grounded, if you can feel yourself be inspired, if you can feel clarity coming to your mind telling you it is time to take action and step into something, then that also is a super useful affirmation. Now, when that happens, we don't just want to say the affirmation and then move on. We want to be in a circumstance where we engage with the affirmation. So, what I'm going to share with you now is the way that I like to tap and use an affirmation. And so, the way that I do it is I tap on the side of my hand and I take a nice big deep breath. And I say the affirmation out loud. I'm going to be successful in 2025. Now, if there is no emotional response, I'm emotionally flat to it, then I'm going to move on and I'm going to find another affirmation, something else that is useful for me. But let's assume that there is a response of some sort. And sometimes we can get both a positive and a negative response. There's a part of us that's excited about it, and there's a part of us that goes, ooh, that is not true, like we just talked about. So then what I do is I then do a single round of tapping where I'm going to say that affirmation out loud. I am going to be successful in 2025. I am going to be successful in 2025. I'm going to be successful in 2025. I am going to be successful in 2025. I'm 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 going to be successful in 2025. Nice easy breath. Now, one thing I want you to notice in the way that I just tapped there is you could hear, hopefully in my voice, I could certainly feel it in my body, that I was emotionally engaging with that phrase. I wasn't just going, I'm going to be successful in 2025. It's, I am going to be successful in 2025. So I'm emotionally engaging with that. Now, after I do that round of tapping, what I want to do is I want to track the things that showed up, that came bubbling up in my mind as I tapped through that round of tapping. And so as I did that, there was a number of, oh, yes, this is your year. It is possible. I am capable of doing that. And so in my tracking of my tapping, I would write those insights down. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But the other thing that happened somewhere around tapping on my chin and tapping on my collarbone, I can't remember exactly where, I heard, you've made that commitment before in different years and it didn't work then. So now I have just been given a little insight from my subconscious mind. My subconscious mind is saying, yes, that is something I want to engage with, but your history tells you it is not true. So what that means is I now have an opportunity to have another issue to go after. I now have this, oh, I have made commitments to myself in the past, and it feels like I've let myself down. And so then for me, what I would do is I would take 5 or 10 minutes and I would tap on and I would unpack that particular idea. Because if there is a part of me, even a small part of me in my subconscious mind that believes that I'm not actually going to be successful because I don't live up to my word, then it doesn't matter how emotionally I get engaged with that. There's going to be a part of me that's going, I don't know, doesn't seem like that's possible. And it's going to hold me back. And so it's super, super important that I'm engaged with and I'm understanding what is there. So again, the process itself is really, really simple. We say the affirmation out loud and see if there's an emotional resonance. If there is, and again, doesn't matter if it's positive or negative or both, we then do a full round of tapping where we say the affirmation out loud. We then capture the insights and the tail enders. We then spend some time saying the insights out loud again and tapping on them, investigating the tail enders and seeing what is there. Now, if you're looking for a really, really simple tool to do exactly what I did, tracking the tapping as you do that, to capture your insights, to capture your tail enders, I've actually created an absolutely free guide for you. If you go to tappingtracker.com, that's tappingtracker.com, you will be able to download 2 versions of a tapping tracker. One is a 30-day version, one is a 100-day version. I have PDF versions so you can print them out. I have Word versions so you can download them to your computer and you can just type in to the computer and keep a hold of those. In addition to that, when you get access to the little guide, the little way to use the tapping tracker, there's also a 15-minute training video that will show you step by step how to get the most out of it. For me, spending time following along and tracking my tapping makes it so much easier, not for me just to get the benefit in the moment, but in a long-term way. So that is my approach in dealing with and responding to affirmations. I would love to hear from you. What is an affirmation that has really, really resonated with you? Because oftentimes when I hear other people's affirmations, like, ooh, I love that, I want to get a hold of that. So feel free to drop a note down in the comment. Let me know how and why a particular affirmation is ringing true for you. If you know someone in your life who you have transformational conversations with all of the time, please be our ambassador. Pass this along. We always joke about the fact that our marketing budget is your word of mouth. There might be someone in your life who likes affirmations, but could be getting more out of them by using this simple process. As you look at the screen right now, you can see the entire archive of the Tapping Q&A podcast. Click on that playlist, dive into some of the previous trainings, and I look forward to talking with you and tapping with you again real soon.